Hello, good morning, and welcome to another episode of What Do We Do Now? A conversation about the live events industry. Today, I am very fortunate to be joined by Aaron Raybe. Say hello, Aaron.
Hey, hi, Dave. How you doing?
I'm not too bad, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good under the
Yeah,
circumstances. Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah.
good, good. So let's go right back. Let's start at the beginning. How did you get your start in the live events industry? What's your origin story?
So, I mean, yeah. So my story is, I grew up as a sound boy. Had a keen interest in sound systems. I owned and ran my own sound system as a young teenager,
Mhm.
and I just had a passion for the way things sounded. Come from a Jamaican background, so sound systems are a part of our culture.
Yeah.
And At the time, there wasn't no major route in for young kids. However, I found a City and Guilds course which I took at the City of Westminster, which was
Mhm.
sound engineering and music technology course, which was a 3-year course, part time. And because of my passion for sound systems, I was able to do really well on that course. I was
Mm.
aced it. In fact, became one of
Nice.
the highest you know awarded students at the time. City and
Amazing.
Guilds
Very cool.
came after me. Yeah, City and Guilds came after me to become a brand ambassador. So I was a poster boy for City and Guilds, and
Nice.
particularly sound
Nice. And you had
engineering.
your poster up all around London then?
Yeah, in fact, there was. There actually was.
That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
it was a bus stop campaign that featured my face, um, and then as
Good.
a result of that, I got a job at a company called PSL, who, for those who may know, they were certainly the largest AV company in Europe at the time,
Mhm.
and part of a bigger group called Gearhouse. I was introduced to them. I went and worked on the prep bench, and then that enabled me to broaden my skills. I went in as a sound tech, and because of their vast array of kit, it enabled me to get onto lighting, onto projectors and big projectors. They're the biggest around at the time, and camera systems. So I was able to get
Mhm.
hold of most facets of kit, and then went on to some tours backstage, running cables, cable bashing, and all the rest of it, which was
Yeah.
invaluable experience. I then took it upon myself to go to Sony Music. I had a friend of mine who worked there at the time. Shout out to Matt Ross. And I said to him, "Look, I can produce your events better, cheaper, faster than the people who are doing it
Yeah.
currently." And you know what? He looked at me and he said, "Yeah, okay, I'm going to take a chance." Now he offered me a chance, and that chance was to launch Beyonce and Destiny's Child, and that was
No
back in
way.
90. Yeah, that was back in 1997. And back then
That's an
they used to.
incredible start. And you literally just off your own back, entrepreneurial style, just went in there and said, "Give me a job, I can do this for you." That's absolutely amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I had to back myself, which I did, and
Mhm.
and that was the first opportunity I had as a freelancer. I then, I had to produce that event, I had to bring in the sound company, the lighting company, staging, and it was, a multitude of issues and errors on my part, but I was still enabled to bring it together. And then the guys came in, they did 4 numbers from their album, and it was a huge success. So much so
Mm.
that Sony brought me back to then work on my next event was the Lauryn Hill campaign. Lauryn Hill just left the
Amazing.
Fugees, she became a solo artist. I
Yeah.
went on tour with her, did a lot of tour parties for her. And then the big
Cool.
one came when they offered me to do the tour parties and album launch for Jamiroquai. So yeah,
So
and
cool.
that was a big deal at the time. So yeah, I was
Yeah.
able to deliver that. And to
Yeah.
be fair, my phone kind of hasn't stopped ringing since. So yeah,
That's
that was
such
my
a
intro
cool
into the
way to
game.
get your start, right?
Yeah, and then I just kept on going. Kept on going. Went in through the music industry. Did a lot of great events, cool stuff, and then found my way into corporate,
Mhm.
largely as a freelancer. I did some work for Imagination. Worked on the Eco Marathon program, which was good. Launched the Jaguar F Type across a number of countries and around the world.
Yeah.
And then just again, like I said, kept on going, and I got contacted by Fran Elliott at Momentum to
Mm.
deliver. They needed somebody to deliver a football fan part for the Premier League in India.
Wow.
Went to go and see
Whereabouts in India
her.
were you working?
That was in Bangalore. south.
Wow,
So
amazing
so
experience.
yeah,
I've worked out
so
there, and
came in.
it's amazing, isn't it, working in that part of the
It's
world?
yeah, it's a great experience, different standards, but the experience was brilliant. So
Mhm.
yeah, I did that. Came into Momentum as a producer, delivered that, and became production director. And then built the what is now the kind of the production team, the event team,
Mhm.
and kept on going. And as a result of that, I now sit on the board. So yeah,
Very
yeah,
good,
an
very
interesting
good.
journey.
Absolutely. And as you kind of look back, is there a particular favorite job that you can kind of pull out, or that you can that comes to mind? I mean, it sounds like it's quite a variety in terms of moving from music more into the kind of corporate agency side.
Yeah, I mean, I've been fortunate enough to have loads of very good events, but the ones that stand out for me are, I guess, Secret Cinema, Back to the Future
Mhm.
was an epic event,
And
great gig. And
just tell me a tiny bit about for people that don't know what Secret Cinema is, sort of what is that? How does that work?
so Secret Cinema blend live action theatre with movies and put them together in an immersive environment. And how that
Hmm.
manifests itself is the people who are attending, the visitors, all assume a character role within a movie. That then enables them to play a part in the live event, which
Hmm.
means the level of immersiveness is second to none. I still haven't found anything that can rival what Secret Cinema are doing. But it's
Yeah,
a
yeah, it's very cool.
very rich experience,
Mm.
which ultimately ends in watching a movie, which then has live action sequences weaved in all around you. So it's an incredible kind of movie watching experience.
That sounds absolutely awesome. Now, obviously, things have really changed for the moment. Um, like with the current situation, like when it dawn on you, how did that realization come about that things were going to be a little bit different, at least in the short term?
I mean, we were looking at what was happening over China,
Hmm.
seeing how society, the world at large over there was reacting. But for me, it wasn't until Mobile World Congress was cancelled that I realised, okay, this is serious, and it feels like it's going to be longer than what people are saying, what the news is actually saying. So that for me was the moment where I stood up and thought to myself, okay, we got an issue.
Yeah, no, no, absolutely. And how has it kind of impacted you, personally on a work level? Like, what's been the biggest way that it's affected you in over the last kind of 10 or 12 weeks?
Well, so as you know, Dave, I mean, we're in the events game, right? I work for an experiential agency, so a lot of what we do is in the physical space.
Mm.
So with social distancing now a massive threat to our game, that has meant all our events have been cancelled. So that's the biggest impact. Second to that is about not being amongst our teams.
Mm.
Um, that's difficult. Managing
Yeah,
people remotely is difficult. And we're production professionals, right? We enjoy being in the action and amongst each
yeah.
other, right? So that's a massive curveball for us all.
Mm.
And we are this is week 12, so we're 12 weeks into this pandemic, which I think is we're still quite early in it in the journey, I think. So it's
Mm.
now taking that time to adapt, use communication channels like this, and try and build closer relationships on video for now, whilst we try and figure out this nightmare.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, are there things that you think will kind of that are different now that will stay different, kind of moving forward, or is there stuff that you've experienced over the last few months now that you would intend to keep doing more of? Do you know what I mean? Like, are there things that could be better in the way that they'll be different?
Yeah, I mean, the use of video is
Yeah.
has been accelerated, so
Mm.
that's a good thing. Um,
Yeah.
like I say, everything we do is in the physical space, and our biggest
Mm.
threat is social distancing. It's not necessarily the pandemic because we can kind of create measures around that, but it's we rely on having lots of people in a space
Mm.
having a good time together, and that energy produces the actual experience, or it plays a pivotal part of the experience. Social
Mm.
distancing now means you got 1/10 of that. So what does that do for the business? I think is really our biggest question. The idea of having a few people is a real issue. But we need to try and outthink this. There are ways in which we can come up, or maybe change the nature of the experience, maybe create them so they're drive-throughs, less touch points, for example, so you move in a single direction. That's probably, the exhibition game can certainly learn from that, because we can do it on that level. And we have the framework of the law. So if we look at what we're doing for our clients through the eyes of the law, it will help us figure out how we show up. Once you run the profile of the event through, risk control measures, it will tell you, is it a live event for 100 people? Could it be a stunt? Is it an online virtual event? And then deliver on that. And I think that's the thing that we should really try and lead with to help us make our decisions.
Absolutely. And just to sort of pick up on, I guess, stunts there for now, like in terms of what do you mean by that? As kind of PR stunts, or kind of big experiential pieces that you do from afar, kind of spectacles, I suppose, like?
Yeah, a bit both really. I mean, our clients have a need to communicate, and our communication channel is the physical event, it's the live event space. Social distancing is a challenge right now. So how can we show up for our clients is really the question. So can we communicate through a stunt? And a stunt could be, a big projection mapped message on a building, for example, or it could be an online stunt which enables people to share, for example. It's just the way we need to approach and think about the communication, or what it is the client needs to say, and then the correct vehicles to do that will give you the answers. But
absolutely, I love that expression.
Right?
Sorry.
I'm a live guy, so let's not get it wrong. I can't wait to get back to the live event experience, but until we relax the rules around social distancing, or it's safe enough to narrow the gaps, we have to look at other routes. We definitely have to look at the other routes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love that expression. We still have to show up for our clients. I love that. It's brilliant. It's so true. We still have to deliver. We still have to deliver these shows for people, don't we?
Absolutely.
It's apparent to me that there isn't much diversity in many parts of our industry. What has been your experience of that, and what can we do better to address that as we reshape businesses moving forward?
Well, that's a very current question in the current climate, right? We've got, there's a whole thing around race and racism at the moment. Our industry, it's not as diverse as it can be. I mean, I'm one of very few Black production professionals in the game.
I have not come across very many at all. It's not right.
No, and a lot of it is in, I guess, recruitment. A lot of it is in opportunity. I was able to get, find my own opportunities and make them work for me to keep on going forward. And as a result, I work at a large agency. And what I'm trying to do now is empower the next generation to kind of, let's go ahead and, here's the door, there's some paths to kind of come through. But, as an industry, we need to communicate more to those parts of society, to let them know there are opportunities. And it is a different message, it's a different blend, it's a different mix, it's a different communication strategy. And I think we need to take time to understand the value of other communities, so we can, attract them. That's one of the first things that we can do.
And I would hope that in your kind of role, where you're able to kind of, I guess, mentor and bring through the younger generation, that you're able to make some of those choices that so many of us have kind of failed to do historically, really.
Yeah, and part of me as Aaron part of Aaron's role is to empower and lead. I speak a lot to young people, to kids in schools, and a lot on the street level. To be fair, I'm involved in a barbershop network which helps, squash some of this beef at street level, showing them
Just
there's
talk a little
another way
bit
to
about
do it.
that. Sorry, the barbershop network there.
Yeah, so I'm involved in a couple of shops in my community, and what I
Mhm.
go in and do and talk to people about is there are alternatives to fighting, and particularly fighting each other, right?
Mm.
And I use myself as an example. It is a difficult communication strategy because the individuals themselves they can't really see the light at the end of the tunnel. So I've got to take time to kind of, you know, listen to their own stories, listen to their stories, understand where they're coming from, and try and help create a pathway for them. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
it is about, for me, street level strategy, because that's where the immediate need is. And if we can help develop people at that level, you know, these guys and girls have got amazing talent, like, you know, real talent. They just need an outlet, an opportunity to express that. So yeah, I spend time doing that.
That's fantastic. That's a really amazing thing to take time out to do, because it can be so pressured and so all-consuming working in an event agency. Um, Whether we're freelance or whether we're furloughed, or whether some people are lucky enough still to be employed or in work, many people are not working in the way that we normally do, and I think I'm starting to see and sense through some of these conversations and through some conversations with other people that it's taking its toll on people's mental health. We're very driven people, we're very deadline driven people, and we're used to being in communities, pulling together as teams to deliver projects. Um, is there anything that you've been trying to do in the last few weeks as well to kind of support your team, and any top tips, I guess, for people that might be starting to struggle a
But
little bit out there?
yeah, I've just tried to listen, you know, listen to them, listen to my team, listen to our suppliers. You know, I take time out of my day to call people and just find out how they're doing. First and
Mm,
foremost, I think it's a difficult time that we're in, right? And everybody's kind of isolated, and we are using video communications tool to kind of bridge the gap. But it's still it's a difficult headspace to be in, right? So the thing I do
yeah,
is I take time out to just reach out, talk, listen, and in some instances try to find solutions together. You know, I'm no counselor by all means, but I do have two ears and experience. So I try to lean on that to try and help those who really need help. And there are people out here who are now beginning to show signs of mental fatigue. So it
yeah.
is about kind of wrapping our arms around them and showing them that we do care, and we're trying to work with them so we can get out of this scenario together. But it's not easy. It's not easy.
No, no, and I think as the longer time goes on, the harder it's getting. Um, just to kind of bring this conversation to a close, like it's been a really interesting and incredible conversation, really. But something I've been asking most people is, what is the kind of best piece of work advice that you've ever been given, or something that you live by, or is a particular message that you want to share with the live events industry?
Wow. So going back to my first opportunity with Sony Music, I sat
Hmm.
down with Matthew Ross, and he was head of a division over at Columbia Records at Sony. And after giving him my pitch, my elevator pitch, telling him how great I could be for his business and for his artists, he literally sat down, looked me in the eye, and said, "I'm going to give you one bit of advice, Aaron. This business is crazy and it's high pressured, but over a course of time, you're going to win money and you're going to lose money, but you have always got to be seen to deliver." And that was so profound. We're in the business of presentation, of showing up, and we're only as good as our last gig. We hear that all the time, and it's so true. So your reputation is at risk if you do not, deliver. And that's the thing that's lived with me, and that's one of the things I communicate back to young people and people who are trying to get into the game. Always be seen to deliver is really the message that I champion.
Yeah, and especially at the moment, I guess finding new ways to always deliver. We're having to invent new workflows on a daily basis for how we're going to do these things differently in the short and medium term. It's a
Absolutely.
really Yeah, it's a fantastic place to finish. So thank you very much. What an amazing conversation to have, and thank you for taking the time to just spend a bit of time with me. We'd love to hear from different people across the industry, so please get in touch if you'd like to join this conversation at some point. But thank you, Aaron. Speak to you again soon. Bye bye for now.
Thanks, Dave.